keep the phones open for listeners on the Commanders coordinators and what you want to see from the new offense that David Blau is designing in the new defense that Durante Jones is going to be running. We'll start with Blau. We know they're going to be under center more. We know there's going to be more motions and shifts pre-snap than there was with Cliff Kingsbury. And we know that because nobody did less of those things than Cliff Kingsbury. So inevitably, that's just going to happen. I joked with Blau yesterday when he was on our show, Danny. He said, we're going to run less no huddle. Well, yeah, so does every team in the Big 12 at this point. Washington was quite literally in no huddle like 75% of the time last year, which is so astronomical and so ridiculous that even if David Blau runs a lot of no huddle, it's going to be less than Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, a lot would still be a fraction of what they just did.
They were peerless in that way, that there was no real comp for them. But what do you hope the offense looks like, I think, is a really important question. And what do you hope comes from the move to David Blau? If there's something you're looking for offensively, what is that? 800-636-1067. One of my main hopes for this unit is a moving pocket, a lateral horizontal pocket. Keepers, occasionally on short yardage, maybe even nakeds, but bootlegs. I'm a big believer in run-pass marriage, that your runs and your passes have to look the same. And I do like the idea of running the ball from under center to set up some of the play-action shots. Those could be pop passes, middle of the field digs. Those could be, you've got this outside zone look or a stretch look to the left. And then Daniels, with his incredible athleticism and his terrific technique fundamentally, keeps the football, boots against the grain now because the defense is moving to their right. He's booting to their left to his arm side right, and he makes a throw. That could be to a tight end in the flat. That could be to a second-level receiver on the sideline. That could be going down the field the other direction on the backside to like a leaking tight end or something. There's just so many options. But I want to see bootlegs, pocket movement, and some of the nakeds and some of those kind of keepers where you're keeping to reset your platform. Nobody knows where you're going to be. You can't just tee off on a guy when you don't know where he's at all the time. And when you're in the shotgun, there's just less movement of where you're actually passing from.
I love that. So for me, I have two words. I guess it's two words that are hyphenated and then another term, right? So bear with me. Play action is the thing I want most. Now, Washington actually ran a lot of quote-unquote play action. What that means, it's kind of cheating here because they lined up in shotgun almost 90% of the time, more than anybody else. And there's a lot of times where the quarterback's back there, Daniels, Mariota, whoever, they fake a handoff out of the shotgun. That's not the same as dropping back to a running back that's behind you, not next to you, running through the entirety of the play action, turning your back to the defense, then turning around and finding your receiver, knowing probably where he's going to be, or hopefully where the defense has reacted or not. There's a difference in their play action game and the Rams or the Bears or the Dolphins under McDaniel, etc. So I want traditional play action a lot. The other word that I have is strike plays. Obviously, we all want to go deep. That's awesome. Right? The 50-yard home run ball, that's great. Those don't happen all that often. What needed to happen a lot more that didn't this past season, you saw some of it last year, is that 12 to 15, 20-yard strike play, right? Where you're tired of getting punched in the gut if you're the defense. Linebackers get sucked up. Safeties, if they're in the nickel, kind of get sucked up. And there's a soft spot with some of this big, deep bubble coverage and receivers that are breaking in or kind of that late breaking towards the sideline, balls thrown to a spot. Those strike plays, those chunks where you get one, you're in field goal range. Drive changing. Everything this year was hard. Everything this year was a fight. It was, 3 feet and a cloud of dust, and we schemed that one up. Let's go back and try another one. There's got to be a little bit more ease to this offense. I think that comes from play action, will come from a better running game, I hope, but also comes with a little bit more offensive talent that threatens the defense a little bit.
Well, we talk a lot about under center. Those are like that 2-word phrase has become this buzz thing within the fan base, and nationally this year, there's this juxtaposition between camps. And one of them's not very big, by the way. The Cliff Kingsbury not under center camp is pretty small. There's not a whole lot of reservations in that restaurant. But the other side is actually pretty prevalent, and it has worked over a long, long period of time. I hear people routinely say, "What about last year? It worked with Jaden. It worked with Washington," and that is true. 3 of the final 4 teams, the Chiefs, the Eagles, they use shotgun a ton, more than under center. Well, by the way, so will Washington this year. Every team, pretty much. uses shotgun more than under center. Nobody is suggesting that you should be under center 90% of the time. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist. The teams that do it the most in the NFL do it about half of the time. That's all we're talking about is if you want to be super, super elite at it, if you want to do it more than anybody else and do it really well, you might do it half the time. It's probably not even going to be that because Blau on the show yesterday suggested he'd be happy if they could get to 40% of the time being under center, which is still upper echelon, which is still pretty above the standard in this league right now. So this is not something you're going to do every single play, nor should you. But it opens so many avenues up. And the main thing with getting under center that I'm the most excited about, I would say, is bringing back the middle of the field passing game. There was this feeling with Daniels coming out. I've always heard these questions, and it's something we've brought up. Like, what is he going to be in terms of throwing to the middle of the field? They don't do it much. And you could say, well, maybe it's a Daniels thing. I think it was a Kingsbury offense thing. And I think Daniels can do it. Because when we've seen him do it, he's done it really, really well. Layering some throws, dropping some balls in the bucket between the zoning linebacker and the safety. I think whatever you ask him to do, he can do. He's accurate.
Yeah.
He's composed. He can read things out. Like, there's no reason he can't be that guy. If Caleb Williams can make that transition to something he hadn't done a whole lot, and I know he's got all-time arm talent, really, really special, I do think Jaden Daniels can do a lot of those same things. So I'm excited for that. But I want to bring the middle of the field back to this offense, to this passing game. This was Blau on implementing more under center offense this coming season.
Yeah, I think, you mentioned some of the rates that we were in the gun and pistol this past year. I think if you see a shift, we're going to ask him to do just more under center. And, if you're 50-50 in the gun versus under center in the NFL, you're at the top of the league. So, if we get to the end of the year and we're sitting here 60-40, I'll be happy about, kind of the result of that. I think it just unlocks a little bit in the run game, and it unlocks a bit in the play actions and the keepers. And, I have mentioned it before. It's just, when you look at the teams that we're playing at the end of the year, that we want to be in that conversation with this time next year. A lot of them kind of lived under center in that world.
As you look at the list, and this is from Sharp Football Analysis, our guy Warren Sharp, the best offenses in the league this year were in shotgun the least. And we're still talking about a 50-50, right? I mean, the Rams are an outlier, really good offense, sub 40%, Seahawks 45%, Bills 48%, Lions 51%, Bears 51%, 49ers 53%, Patriots 53%, Vikings 55%, Jaguars 59%, Texans 61%, Cowboys 61%. Point is, the shotgun's here. It's not this new thing that we're trying out. It's part of everybody's offense, and it should be. There are advantages to it, especially when it comes to passing and some of the RPO stuff, and there are definitely looks out of it that you can have that you should incorporate.
We just live in a world now where everyone wants to talk about the extremes and be,
Right.
it's all polarizing. Because I want to go under center, or some coach wants to go under center, does not mean you never get to run shotgun again. It's still going to be majority shotgun. We're just going to do under center stuff a lot more. It's okay. You mentioned Sharp. He had these numbers on under center dropbacks this year. These are actual passing dropbacks from being under center. The Rams were number one in the league at 251, and the Bears were number two at 192. So that's McVay and Ben Johnson, right? Number 3 is Clint Kubiak now with the Raiders. Number 4 is the Lions with the Ben Johnson offense. Number 5 was the Niners with Kyle. Number 6 was the Buffalo Bills with Joe Brady, who became a head coach. Of those teams, all but one made the playoffs, if you run through those numbers. 5 of the top 6. It was 9 of the top 11 teams in the NFL in terms of drop back passes. Might have even been more than that. 10 of the top 12 made the playoffs. You know who was dead last on the list? The Commanders this year had drop back pass attempts on 17 under center plays.
That's odd.
Second,
that's crazy. It's that low.
Worst on this list, or I say worst, but second lowest on this list, the Chiefs with 45. That discrepancy is, I mean, you're talking about a team that did it basically 3 times as much as Washington being in second place, and Washington at 17 when the Rams were at 251.
Just kind of tells you that you need to be able to do all the different things. right? I mean, there's also no guarantee that if you take a snap from the center directly, that automatically your offense is great.
Right.
No one's suggesting
but why
that.
wouldn't you give a team something to prepare for?
I think that's
you
that.
basically get to cross that off of the list when you play Washington.
It's all trade-offs, right? I mean, the advantage to going no huddle is X, and I'd like to do that sometimes. But the disadvantage to going all no huddle is here, and we now saw that it outweighed all the advantages that happened 2 years ago now, 2 seasons ago. So there's a push and pull. I mean, there's situational stuff that always I think you could take advantage of. Like we used to beg before he would come on the show. We talked about this with you, where Jay Gruden's offense, every once in a while, goes do tempo. I'm begging. You've got a good package in. The defense, you've got an advantage. Kirk gets to the line of scrimmage, can call it real quick and orchestrate, and we can do some empty, get rid of the ball and move. You got an advantage, press it. Doesn't mean you do it every time. There's got to be some room for everything. And I guess that's kind of the point here that I'm making.
And Blau said that yesterday. He said, we want to have that as a tool in the belt, basically as a weapon that we can go up-tempo here or there just to show them something different.
Yeah.
But that's such a big difference than doing it 75% of the time as your home base. You know, it's minoring in something versus majoring in something. This was Blau on why the league seems to be trending toward under center, and guys like him and Clint Kubiak and Sean Mannion are the hot names this year that want to do it this way.
You horizontally displace underneath players, so those throws that you see in the middle of the field, whether it's a Stafford ripping an in cut over the middle of the field, and if that guy's taking a false step at all, he's beat off initial snap, and being able to help Jaden go ahead and take a 7-step drop from under center, turn his back to the defense, sell a run action well with our guys running off the football and have our best players ripping in behind these defenders is advantageous for us. And I want to put him in that position as much as possible because his fundamentals are excellent, man, and he's an incredibly accurate passer, and we're going to just try to put him in positions where on first and second down, we can get guys as open as possible, and then he can be Superman and go, those third downs and red zone in 2 minutes when he is.
David Blau, new coordinator, play caller for the Commanders. So the question for you guys is, what is your vision for the offense? What do you want to look different? What are you hoping he brings to the table? I'm going to say move in the pocket with play action, bootlegs. I'll go back to just double down on play action being a huge part of the passing game.
Yeah.
It's one of the great things you can do to help a passer. And then my third thing would be opening the middle of the field back up for throwing lanes and easy button stuff. Like get these crossers and these drags, not just 5 and 7 yards, at the 10-yard, 12, 18-yard digs. He just talked about ripping throws into these windows where you get a team in zone and you beat them with some of this, the dagger concept stuff that you see Kyle and Ben Johnson and these offenses do. So inject it into my veins. Let's do this thing together. Those are some of mine. What do you got?
Yeah, play action. I triple down on that, but not from the shotgun sense, from the drop back sense. I think that's more effective, as we've kind of seen demonstrated here over the last couple of years. And to me, it's those strike plays. It's those little bit more chunks. Again, home runs are awesome. I'll look forward to those highlights too. That'd be great. But to me, they need more of those. We just changed field position. We went from our side of the 50 to your side with that 14 to 20 yard kind of strike play over linebackers in front of kind of deep corners that are bailing out or deep safeties, etc. That was totally missing this past year.